Have you ever gone to bed thinking your health was perfectly fine, only to hear a doctor say something the next day that changes everything? What if I told you that right now at this very moment, your kidneys could be losing function silently, and you might not feel a single warning sign? I'm Dr. Mark Ellis, and after years of working with patients, I've seen something that still unsettles me every time. Many people discover their kidney disease not when the damage begins, but when half of their kidney function is already gone. No sharp pain, no dramatic symptoms, just a quiet, gradual decline happening deep inside the body. And that's the frightening part about kidney disease. It doesn't usually announce itself with alarms. Instead, it moves slowly, quietly, almost politely, until one day routine blood work reveals a number that stops people in their tracks. Across the United States, millions of adults are living with reduced kidney function, and many of them have no idea it's happening. In fact, according to the CDC, roughly 9 out of 10 people with early kidney disease don't know they have it. Not because they're careless, but because the kidneys are among the most silent organs in the human body. But here's the good news and the reason I want you to stay with me for the next few minutes. Your body often sends subtle signals long before serious damage occurs. Small changes, quiet clues, things many people dismiss as just getting older. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what those warning signs look like, why kidney disease has become so common today, and most importantly, what simple changes can help protect your kidneys before it's too late. Because once you understand how these two small organs quietly protect your entire body every single day, you'll begin to see your health very differently. And it all starts with a simple question most people have never really thought about. What are your kidneys actually doing for you right now? Every minute of your life. When people hear the word kidney health, they often think about medications, complicated diets, or expensive supplements. But one of the most powerful protective foods for your kidneys is something far simpler, something many people overlook in the produce aisle: everyday blueberries. At first glance, they seem ordinary. Small, sweet, easy to eat. But inside these tiny berries is a group of compounds called anthocyanins, the pigments that give blueberries their deep blue-purple color. These compounds are not just antioxidants in the usual sense. They play a very specific role in protecting the delicate network of blood vessels that feed the kidneys. And that detail matters more than most people realize. Your kidneys depend on an incredibly dense web of microscopic blood vessels to filter waste from the bloodstream. In fact, each kidney contains around 1 million filtering units called nephrons, and every one of them relies on healthy blood flow to function properly. When inflammation or oxidative stress damages those tiny vessels, filtration efficiency begins to decline, often long before symptoms appear. This is where blueberries become surprisingly powerful. Studies published in nutrition and metabolic health journals have shown that anthocyanins can help reduce oxidative stress, improve endothelial function, and support healthy circulation. In simple terms, they help keep those tiny blood vessels flexible and protected. And when the vessels feeding the kidneys stay healthy, the kidneys themselves are far better equipped to maintain their filtration capacity over time. I remember speaking with a patient named Daniel, a retired school teacher in his late 60s. He came in worried because his blood tests showed early signs of declining kidney filtration. Nothing dramatic, but enough to raise concern. When we talked about his diet, he admitted that fruits and vegetables had slowly disappeared from his routine over the years. Instead of drastic changes, we started with something simple: a small handful of blueberries with breakfast each morning. 3 months later, when his follow-up labs came back, his inflammatory markers had improved and his metabolic profile looked noticeably better. Now, blueberries alone weren't a miracle cure. Kidney health is always the result of many factors, but small daily habits like that can create meaningful changes over time. And science supports this idea. Population studies have consistently found that diets rich in polyphenol-dense fruits, especially berries, are associated with lower levels of systemic inflammation, one of the hidden drivers behind kidney decline, cardiovascular disease, and metabolic disorders. But here's an important point many people miss: more is not always better. A modest portion, about half a cup a day, is enough to deliver those protective compounds without adding excessive sugar intake. In fact, blueberries are considered one of the more kidney-friendly fruits because their potassium content is relatively moderate compared to many other fruits. So the goal isn't excess, it's consistency. A handful with breakfast, maybe added to yogurt or oatmeal. A small habit repeated daily can quietly support the health of your blood vessels, which in turn supports the organs that depend on them the most. And yet, as helpful as blueberries are, there's something important you need to understand. Because protecting kidney health isn't only about antioxidants or blood vessels. In fact, there is another fruit that works in a completely different way, one that helps reduce the actual metabolic waste your kidneys must filter every day. And surprisingly, it's a fruit millions of people already have sitting in their kitchen right now. Now, if blueberries help protect the blood vessels that feed the kidneys, the next fruit works in a completely different and surprisingly powerful way. Apples don't just support circulation, they help reduce the very workload your kidneys face every single day. To understand why that matters, we need to look at something most people never think about, where waste in the bloodstream actually comes from. Every time the body processes food, especially proteins and certain metabolic byproducts, small waste compounds are produced. These compounds travel through the bloodstream, and eventually it's the kidneys that must filter them out. But here's the interesting part. Not all waste has to reach the kidneys in the first place. Apples contain a type of soluble fiber called pectin, and this fiber behaves almost like a biological sponge inside the digestive system. Instead of allowing certain toxins and metabolic byproducts to circulate through the bloodstream, pectin helps bind and remove some of them directly through the digestive tract. In simple terms, when your gut does more of the cleanup work, your kidneys don't have to work as hard. And that shift can make a meaningful difference over time. I once spoke with a patient named Linda, a 63-year-old woman who had been struggling with fatigue for years. Her kidney function wasn't in the danger zone, but it had slowly declined. When we reviewed her diet, one pattern stood out immediately: almost no fiber. Breakfast was often toast and coffee. Lunch was something quick, and fruit rarely appeared on the plate. Instead of complicated diet rules, we made one small change. She started adding a single apple to her daily routine, usually in the afternoon, when she would normally reach for something processed. 3 months later, two things had changed. First, her digestion improved dramatically. Second, her metabolic markers, including inflammation levels, had shifted in the right direction. Again, it wasn't magic, but it showed something important. When digestion works better, the kidneys experience less strain. And there's science behind this observation. Research published in Nutritional Epidemiology has linked higher intake of soluble fiber, especially from fruits like apples, with improved metabolic health, lower inflammation levels, and reduced burden on kidney filtration pathways. Apples also contain quercetin, a natural antioxidant known to support vascular health and reduce low-grade inflammation in the body. But perhaps the most important part is simplicity. Unlike trendy health products or supplements, apples are accessible, affordable, and easy to incorporate into daily life. One medium apple contains roughly 4 grams of fiber, a meaningful amount that contributes to healthier digestion and steadier metabolic balance. And when eaten whole, not as juice, that fiber slows sugar absorption and helps stabilize blood glucose levels, which is critical because blood sugar spikes are one of the hidden drivers of kidney damage over time. The key is consistency, not excess. 1 apple a day, eaten with the skin after proper washing, can provide those beneficial compounds while keeping the diet balanced. But there's another layer to kidney health that many people overlook. Because even when blood vessels are protected and digestion is improved, the kidneys still rely on something else to function properly: healthy circulation throughout the entire body. And this is where the third fruit enters the story, a fruit so common that many people underestimate its impact. But once you understand what it does inside the body, you may never look at it the same way again. And that brings us to the third fruit, one that many people see as simple, ordinary, even forgettable. Yet when it comes to circulation and kidney health, citrus fruits such as mandarins and oranges play a surprisingly important role. If blueberries protect the tiny blood vessels and apples help reduce the metabolic waste entering the bloodstream, citrus fruits support something just as critical: healthy circulation and vascular flexibility. And circulation is the lifeline of the kidneys. Every second, these organs rely on a steady flow of oxygen-rich blood to keep millions of filtration units working efficiently. But here's the problem. As we age, blood vessels naturally become less flexible. Layers of inflammation, oxidative stress, and metabolic strain slowly stiffen the arteries. When that happens, blood doesn't move as smoothly through the body, and the kidneys, because they filter such a large volume of blood, are among the first organs to feel the consequences. This is where citrus fruits begin to matter. Mandarins, oranges, and similar fruits contain high levels of vitamin C and flavonoids, compounds that help protect the inner lining of blood vessels, known as the endothelium. A healthy endothelium allows vessels to expand and contract smoothly, maintaining stable blood flow throughout the body, including to the kidneys. And stable blood flow means better filtration. I remember a conversation with a patient named Robert, a 70-year-old retiree who loved gardening but had recently begun feeling short of breath during simple activities. His kidney function tests were not alarming, but they showed a slow downward trend. When we talked about his diet, something stood out. Fruit intake had dropped almost completely over the years, replaced by convenience foods. We started with a small adjustment, adding a couple of mandarins in the afternoon instead of sugary snacks. Over the next few months, his overall diet improved along with it. When his follow-up labs came back, his vascular health markers and inflammatory indicators had moved in a healthier direction. Again, citrus fruit alone wasn't the sole factor, but it became part of a broader shift that supported better circulation and metabolic balance. Science backs this up as well. Several population studies have linked higher intake of citrus flavonoids with improved endothelial function and reduced cardiovascular risk factors. Two key elements strongly connected with kidney health. When blood vessels remain flexible and circulation remains strong, the kidneys receive the oxygen and nutrients they need to maintain their filtration capacity. But just like with blueberries and apples, moderation matters. For most people, 1 or 2 citrus fruits a day can provide valuable vitamin C and antioxidants without pushing sugar intake too high. However, individuals with advanced kidney disease sometimes need to monitor potassium intake carefully, so portion awareness is always important. Still, when included thoughtfully in a balanced diet, citrus fruits offer something simple yet powerful. They help keep the body's circulatory highways open and efficient. And when circulation flows smoothly, the kidneys can do their job far more effectively. But here's the part that often surprises people. Even if someone eats blueberries, apples, and citrus fruits regularly, kidney health can still decline if a few hidden daily habits continue unchecked. In fact, there is one overlooked factor, something millions of people do almost every day, that quietly puts enormous pressure on the kidneys over time. And understanding that habit might be the most important step of all. Before we finish, I want to leave you with something important. Your kidneys are 2 of the hardest working organs in your body. Every single day, without asking for attention, they filter your blood balance, your fluids, regulate minerals, and quietly protect the internal environment that keeps you alive and functioning. Most of the time, they do this work silently. And that is exactly why taking care of them early matters so much. The encouraging news is that protecting your kidneys does not usually require complicated treatments or expensive products. It often begins with small, consistent choices, choosing whole fruits instead of processed snacks, keeping your diet balanced, staying hydrated, moving your body regularly, and paying attention to the subtle signals your body sends long before serious problems appear. Foods like blueberries, apples, and citrus fruits are not miracle cures, but when they are part of a balanced lifestyle, they can support healthy blood vessels, better metabolism, and steady circulation, all of which help your kidneys do their job more efficiently over the long run. If you found this information helpful, I encourage you to save this video so you can return to it whenever you need a reminder about these simple habits. And if you care about learning more ways to protect your health as you age, consider subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications. Here we regularly share clear science-based medical insights designed to help you take better care of your body, especially your kidneys. Because the goal is not just to live longer, the goal is to live stronger, clearer, and healthier for as many years as possible. Take care of your kidneys today, and they will quietly take care of you for many years to come.